Good day, everyone. Tim from Timber Visions here. So, I know some of my viewers are rural people, and they might have a need to get their Wi-Fi out further to like an outbuilding or something like that. And a company has sent me a Wi-Fi bridge, and you can see it right there on this little pole. And I just got done testing this, and I'm going to tell you how it went and how to set it up and all that. And we'll be right back and I'll show you this. So this is Evie. I don't know. Your guess is as good as me. Mine is how to pronounce that. But basically how this works is you have two of these units like this. You have one where your internet originates from and another one where you want to receive it. And all you need is one CAD 5, CAD 6 type cable to plug into this, and it's called a Wi-Fi bridge. And so you set this up, and I found that it definitely has to be line of sight. If there's any obstructions at all, you really don't get very good reception. But this CAD 6 here goes into my house and into a plug, which I'll show you later, that you plug into the wall. And then you have another CAD 5 or CAD 6 coming from your router into that plug. And that gives you PoE, or power over Ethernet. And that's what powers this to send out the signal to the receiver. So this is a transmitter and the other end's a receiver. So I'll show you what I have on the other end. So basically this cable just goes into a plug-in box that has another CAD 6 that goes to my home router. Okay, so this is the other end of the configuration. So this is the receiver. And on the side here, you see that's got good signal because transmitter is right there. But yeah, it will tell you, those little green dots on the side will tell you that you got a good reception. Then it comes down into this plug here. And this is just like what that one goes to on the other end. And this is the PoE plug. So it's just a regular standard plug like that. And then on the bottom, you have a PoE and a LAN. So the LAN comes from here to here. And on that one, the LAN comes from my inside router. So here the LAN goes to the router here. So always the LAN goes to the router. And of course I have to have power for my router here. So I got a little router here. And the internet comes in from that one and then transmits out of this router. So basically you've extended your internet quite a distance. So what I found was you have to be line of sight. I mean, you get around the corner at all, because I live here in town. So it's not the ideal situation for this type of stuff. And I think it would work really good if you're out in the country and you had like a barn or a shop out back and you just wanted to get the house Wi-Fi out to your barn or shop. I think it would work great for that, because then you could just set them looking at each other, across the yard or, up on the hill, as long as they can see each other. Because I'm going to put a map together and I'll show you pretty much how far away I could get before I lost signal. And it's about 3 city blocks here. And I don't know how many feet that is offhand, but it's a pretty good distance. I don't know too many rural places where you would need much more range than that. So anyway, I'll bring that up here next and kind of show you just how far I could get. Okay, here's an overhead map of my little town, and the red circle is where my house is, and the two orange circles is where I lost connection to the internet using this Wi-Fi bridge. So I used Google Maps to draw a line in between these, and the one to the right was like a little over 1,000 feet, and the one to the left was about 920 feet. So not too bad of a distance, but they had to be line of sight. Okay, here the map is zoomed out a little bit, and you'll see a orange dot on the left side and then to the bottom left. In those areas, I got signal on the receiver only, but never totally linked up to the internet. So I think the potential might be there for a little bit more, but as I've said before, it really has to be line of sight. So it might have just been, getting in between the buildings in those particular spots. But like I said, I never actually linked up to the internet. So I ran some speed tests. One went on using the bridge, and then connected to the Wi-Fi, sitting in the same spot. So I was actually outside the house. But the one on the left is with the Wi-Fi bridge, and the one on the right is with the Wi-Fi. So I did lose some download speed while using this as well. So that is something to keep in mind as well. So you're not going to have the same Wi-Fi speed. At least I didn't in this situation. So something to keep in mind. Upload speed was exactly the same pretty much. So not an issue there, but download speed was definitely reduced. Okay, I just want to make sure that I show you the proper way to hook these things up. So let's pretend that this is coming from my motor, my house, right? It needs to go into your internet plug, right? Just like it normally would. And then this one that comes out, the white one, goes into this plug-in where it says LAN. So that's sending internet here. And then this gives it power, and then this other one plugs into the PoE, which is power over Ethernet. And that one is the one that comes out to here. And that will give this power. So if I had this plugged in, then that would be lit up. And you can switch channels. You just need to make sure both things are on the same channel. And it doesn't matter which one of these you plug this into, I don't think. I think it says LAN 1 or LAN 2. I think if you wanted, you can do multiple type things, but for this situation that I did, I just plugged it into one of them. Then that will transmit to the other one. So now let's pretend that this is the other one. Right? So it comes in, goes through the PoE, right? Comes into the PoE. Then this comes down, and instead of being this way, that would be your internet in, right? Because this is sending the internet to here. Okay, then you could Wi-Fi broadcast, or if you're going to plug it into something, then you plug this in to one of these 4. I'll flip it the right way. And then this would go to your device, whatever, your computer or whatever. So the internet would be coming in here, going through the PoE and into here, and then out here, or out Wi-Fi. I hope that makes sense. They do send really detailed instructions for this. So right here, the case one is kind of what I do, point to point. It gives you all the different scenarios depending on what you're planning to do with it. But it's all dependent on your situation. So this all comes with it. And then they also send brackets to hang these on like the side of a wall. It's just like a angled bracket that's a tube, and then you just use, just like I did on that one out front for the transmitter, just like a hose clamp to it. You can stick it on the side of the house or your barn or whatever. The nice thing is that you can send the power through an Ethernet with that PoE plug. So that kind of simplifies things. So hopefully this video kind of showed you how this Wi-Fi bridge works, and will tell you if maybe it's something that would help you out in the situation that you currently have. If you're trying to get internet like from your house out to a shop or a barn or whatever like that, I think it'd be great for that. Like I said earlier in the video, I was getting about 900 foot of range with this. It does give you less speed than directly to the internet in your house. At least it did for my testing. So it was about half or a little bit less than the speed. The upload speed was exactly the same, but the download speed was reduced by a little over half. So keep that in mind if you're planning to stream or something like that in your barn. That might be an issue. I mean, I still had like over 20 megabits per second, so it's still enough to stream in like 4K, so on one device. So that's not terrible. Anyway, the biggest takeaway from this is it has to be line of sight. You cannot have any obstructions at all. I was literally 1 block north of our house here, and I had no signal. I didn't have signal until I got around and to the street that my house is on. Then the signal came back. I had just quick signal coming into the receiver, but I never got internet when I was a mile out of town. Maybe if you put it way up on a pole, maybe if you put it way up on a pole and you had direct line of sight over the trees and stuff like that, it might reach that far. But in town here, about 900 feet or 3 city blocks is what I was getting in my testing. And I did that on Google Maps and kind of drew a line in between the points of where this was at, where I was at in the truck. So yeah, I think it's a good product if you're looking to stay within that range and you have line of sight. If you don't have line of sight, try to figure out something else, because this is not going to work for you. It doesn't go through buildings at all. It'll go through trees, but right now there's no leaves on the trees, so I don't know if that changes it or not. And it was very kind of a weak signal there too, but I did get signal to the receiver and my router when I was a street to the south of here, and there's just trees between the transmitter and me with the receiver. So I wouldn't risk it myself. I would only use this if I could see the building I was sending it to and I could get an Ethernet cable up to there at each point. But like I said, the nice thing is you can send Ethernet cable up only, and you get power from the Ethernet cable. So that's a pretty handy thing about it. I will put a link for this in the description of my video if you're interested in purchasing it. Um, it's an affiliate link, so I will get a small kickback for that, but it doesn't cost you any extra. Yeah, it's not going to be able to be used for me for what I originally had hoped for, to beam it across town to the woodlot, so I could have Wi-Fi over there to set up Wi-Fi cameras instead of using, you know, cell phone camera over there. But I still might be able to use it to shoot internet back here to my shed or garage, so I could have a little better Wi-Fi signal towards, into the backyard and stuff. So I might end up doing that with it, but we'll see. I can kind of get decent Wi-Fi out there, but it's not perfect. So I do want to thank you for stopping in and watching this video, and hopefully it opened your eyes to what this is capable of doing and what it's not capable of doing. So until next time, be safe, brothers and sisters.